I first arrived in Elevsina in 2015. I came here because my work in Italy, I collaborate and work for an art foundation in the north of Italy called the Pistoletto Foundation. So I came first to visit because the Lorghio Festival, and then I somehow felt very attracted because the tension between ancient Greek mythology and history and the present, and the factories, the workers, and all that related with labor. In my work since many years, 2010, in my artistic practice, I work about labor and workers. So I find very interesting what was happening at the time, 2015, in Elevsina. And so I decided to propose for the Lorghio Festival first the project, a smaller version of this project. Well, you know, time passed, and my project was included in the proposal for the Capital of Culture. And then, of course, time passed since 2017 till today, pandemic, and also many other things happened. So finally, we were able to realize, well, a big version of that initial idea that I have, which is a portrait. I call this a portrait, I call this a monument to the workers of the city. So this project was conceived for Elevsina, it was conceived for the workers of Elevsina, somehow involving them in the realization. Of course, not in a collaborative way, so they were not part of the discussion of what the idea was, but they were included as, you know, members of this community, of this workforce of Elevsina. So I decided to call it the Elevsina Terracotta Army because it refers to the ancient terracotta army in China, which represents, you know, it portrays a huge number of individuals. So what people will see in this exhibition is 202 helmets displayed, and many of them with data coming from the workers from Elevsina. So their names, their relatives' names, we asked them up for a hobby, for a color. So each one of these 2002 helmets were done by myself, by hand. I etched them, I painted them, and they will be given back to the workers at the end of the exhibition in February next year. I choose to put the helmets on the wall because it reminds how the helmets are usually displayed or stored in a factory. So after the work, the workers put the helmet hanging on a locker. So I wanted to, you know, to refer to that. Those helmets that we are displaying here all refer to workers who are active workers or retired. So the idea of the monument for living people is important to me. And another element in the installation will be the soundscape. I have collaborated with artist Yorgos Moraitis from Athens, and he has developed this soundscape which brings the factory, the sounds of the factory, the active factories, to the exhibition. So these are the two elements that together give this idea of alive in the factory. And another important element of the whole project is a documentary, and director Yorgos Kyvernikis is developing and will be ready after the exhibition. The element of the clay is very important in the project. Of course, the helmets are done by clay, and I've been working with clay since many years. I'm the son of a ceramist, so I grow up seeing my mother working with ceramics, teaching ceramics, so it stayed with me for long, in the background, let's say. And something like 10, 12 years ago, I bring back ceramics into my artwork. So I've been using and doing research related to clay, to the soil, the different uses of clay. And so, of course, in this project is very important, this link between the material and the object. When I came here the first time, I visited the Archaeological Museum. There are beautiful objects done in Elevsina with terracotta from the place. So I wanted to link to that element which has been present in here since ancient times. You know, many moments that were for me very let's say, emotional and in contact with the city. In 2019, I visited some of the bigger factories in Elevsina, the shipyard, the cement factory. I visited the refinery, and I had the chance to present the work to the workers, big groups of them, and to have questions from them. And that was very interesting and also challenging, no? You know, to answer direct questions for them, why I'm doing this, why I want to portray such the workers, what is my background, why I want to talk about the workers. So, you know, that was a big moment of conversation with the workers' population, let's say. And then when I came in 2023, early this year, I have the chance to work with one of the retired workers and to have a discussion with him, to speak about work. And I think the link with him, you know, how he understood my idea, he introduced me to a big group of retired workers. That was also very important for me, you know, to hear and to have the feedback of how this person and this big group of people perceived what I was proposing to them. Those were for me like two key moments in my experience in Elevsina. You know, Medellin is a very big city. It's a metropolis, more than 3 million people living in Medellin. But Medellin has an industrial past. So it was the industrial city in Colombia. That declined maybe in the 80s and 90s where the iron factory closed in Medellin. So the big industries were moved outside of the city. But Medellin has an industrial past. So I grew up, you know, in the 70s and 80s seeing the industry, seeing the factories. So somehow this landscape of factories, the industrial landscape, it has some kind of link for me, you know, between the place where I grew up and Elevsina. Of course, being the two of them very different, Elevsina is far smaller than Medellin, but I think they share this industrial present in the case of Elevsina and past in the case of Medellin. I work about workers and labor since many years, far time ago. And my question or my idea is that the workers has a very important role in the transformation of the city. They build the city, you know, in some cases with their own hands, but they build the transformations of the city. So my wish for Elevsina is that the workers continue being involved in the transformation of the city, of course, in a very positive and, you know, in a very shared way for everyone. So my wish is that the workers continue being and having an important role in the city and its transformation.
Εθνικό Σχέδιο Ανάκαμψης και Ανθεκτικότητας Ελλάδα 2.0 με τη χρηματοδότηση της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης NextGenerationEU.